Wow, Arcueid definitely has a nice place. Arcueid's room was decorated in a manner unbecoming of a vampire. I couldn't get my head around the room at the time, but looking at it like this, it's a pretty normal room. If not a little bit extravagant. It's a bottle of human blood. There was no bizarre sculptures or anything like that. Well, is he trying to say there was no bottles of human blood or anything? She's even got a refrigerator and dishes. I wonder who she is, this girl. I put Arcueid on the bed, blubbering. Arcueid's body was light, but it was hard work to carry her so far. Surprised nobody stopped you, even though it's early in the morning. It's like, hey, why are you carrying an injured woman around? I sit down on the floor and take a deep breath. Ugh. It was almost 7 in the morning. I see. I'll have to close the curtains. I whipped my lazy body into shape and closed the curtains. After doing what I could, I was finally able to relax. As I was about to sit down, my knees gave out and I fell to the floor with a thud. It's pathetic. I just carried one girl and now I'm like this. Since that accident, I've had a hard time healing from my injuries. But that doesn't mean that I don't get enough exercise. Arima's house had a dojo, so I exercised as much as I could. If you don't build up your strength, even a cold can kill you. Well, maybe if you have a really weak immune system. So I'm proud to say that my basic physical strength and major functions are as good as anyone else's, but I can't build up my endurance. However, there's no way to improve my endurance. It's like a track and field athlete who can handle short distance running, but can't talk about long distance running. I mean, not many people could blame you. You almost got killed. I mean, I would think most people would be worn out by what happened to them. I mean, they were probably scared for their life and they had a demon dog jump on them about to, bite their, tear their throat out. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that anything about that's, the reaction to that's really abnormal. I can't get up from lying down. I spent all of last night talking to Arcueid and I haven't had a decent meal in over a day. It's funny that I've been able to keep it up until now. Arcueid, are you okay? I steal a look at the woman lying on the bed. The bleeding from her abdomen had stopped, and even if she was torn apart, she would come back to life on her own, so there was probably nothing to worry about. You're out of your mind. My head is wobbling with fever. I'm so exhausted that I can barely breathe, and yet I'm more concerned about her condition. The crash was caused by the motorcycle brake pedal malfunctioning and the rider going down a steep hill with no brakes. 2 people were injured, but fortunately no one was killed. Did I fall asleep? I had fallen asleep on the floor. Oh, that's just how tired he was. For some reason, the curtains were open and there was a sheet over my body. Well, I guess she woke up before you did. It was just afternoon. Arcueid was nowhere to be found on the bed, and the TV was on, playing the boring news. Where is she? I sit up and look around the room. The room next door has a sign of a person from the kitchen. What are you doing moving around when your body's like that? I pushed off the sheet and stood up. I have to go to the kitchen right now and see if she's hurt. This is next on the news. A fire broke out at the Kuromikobashi Dome Hotel earlier today. There was no fire alarm from inside. At 6 a.m., a staff member returning to work found something unusual in the hotel and called the police. We are currently working with the fire department to extinguish the fire inside the hotel. I stopped dead in my tracks. I was unavoidably glued to the news footage. The safety of the 200 people who are staying at the hotel has not been confirmed yet. Firefighters are working at a rapid pace to extinguish the fire, but not a single person has been found inside the hotel. Yeah, that's probably because they were kidnapped and taken to the vampire's lair. The newscaster read out the information in an unhurried manner. The screen turned to show the exterior of the hotel where we had just been, and a list of the names of the 200 people who were said to be missing. No names for me in Arcueid. According to the police investigation, some of the walls inside the hotel were damaged, so there is a possibility that this is not a normal fire, but an explosion caused by structural defects in the hotel. With a snap, I turned off the TV. Confirmation of safety? Finding the rescuer? I don't know why you know so much and don't say it out loud. Everyone who was staying at the hotel was engulfed in that incomprehensible fire and burned up without a trace. It's to endure the nausea. I can't vomit here thinking back to that tragedy. Such sympathy is no better than a pig's. I guess he's saying maybe I shouldn't feel sympathy towards those people. I don't know. Sometimes it's like I don't know what he's getting at. I'm the only one who survived in that hotel, and I'm not allowed to do anything but hate. 200 people were unilaterally killed, unable to even retain their original form. Well, they definitely won't now. They'll be turned into fire zombies or whatever the hell those things are supposed to be. That vampire's face comes to mind. I don't know who he is, but I'm sure that thing is the source of the problem. Yeah. The only thing I know for sure is that it's something I can't keep alive. The mind is still numb, is it not? The fear still lingers. Anger is also swirled strongly. And yet, the thoughts are chilling. So basically he's angry but yet also afraid. The heart and brain seem to have become separate entities. Just thinking back to that man makes me want to scream, but the sensation in my fingertips only grows sharper. No need for unnecessary emotions. I don't need extra heat. All I have to do is just keep it simple, that line. Did you notice, Shiki? Arcueid emerges from the kitchen. What's with that scary face? Arcueid spoke to me in a very natural and casual way. No. Let's see. Oh, good morning. Yeah, good morning. It's a rare experience to greet someone in the morning. The unexpected smile took my breath away. The thoughts that had been chilling me suddenly disappeared with it. It's not that. It's not. What are you doing in Harmony? I think you got up because he wasn't in bed in the first place. I did. Arcueid, what about your wounds? Scratch? Yeah, no problem for now. Arcueid stood there looking comfortable. She seems to be completely back to normal, and if I'm not mistaken, she may have more energy than me. I see. Well, that's good. I at least have to know that the people around me are safe. Huh? No, what was I thinking? Arcueid was not human. To forget such a basic premise is beyond sleepwalking. But, well, that doesn't change the fact that it's good, does it? Your wound, it wasn't a big deal. What's wrong with you, Shiki? You used to call me a monster a while ago. Yeah, that's what I thought a while ago, and I still do. But that's not the same thing as this. If you help me, I'll at least be grateful. You saved me. I saved Shiki? Arcueid's eyes widened in surprise. Apparently, she's not aware of it at all. Yeah, you did. You saved my life, you know. So, thank you for covering for me after all this time. If you hadn't pulled me over, I would have burned to death too. I'm not sure what to say. The reason Shiki met Verov was because of me, and I don't deserve to be thanked by Shiki. Arcueid covered for me, and for that I'm truly grateful. Indeed, if you just look at the facts, yes. That's still not true, Shiki. If you hadn't taken on the role of lookout, you wouldn't have gone through what you did. I was the one who poisoned Shiki's life. You may hate me, but you are wrong to be grateful, aren't you? Arcueid is obsessed with the oddest things. What the hell? Gratitude is a matter of feeling, and there's no need for a rational explanation. You're not wrong. You have to take responsibility for your own actions. There was someone who taught me that a long time ago. No matter what others think, you have to settle for what you want. So I don't have any hatred or grudge against Arcueid for being a watchman. At best, I would be muttering to myself, I've gotten myself into a lot of trouble. I see. It's because Shiki killed me that I needed the shield, if you ask me. Yeah, of course she's not gonna let that go. It's like, yeah, hey, by the way, you murdered me. So there's no need for me to apologize for getting you involved. Yeah, that's what I mean. I deserved it. Now I'm getting it. I guess I got what I deserved. Yeah, Shiki had bad luck from the start. That's one way of putting it. If I had to kill someone, it wouldn't have happened if it had been someone other than me. You know, in the first place, the assumption that he might have killed someone other than Arcueid is not valid. Arcueid is the only person I've ever felt that way about, walked around for no apparent reason, and then killed. I mean, I don't think there's anyone else but this girl. Oh. What, did you forget something? No, it's not like I forgot something. Thinking about it, why would I want to kill you? I mean, how should she know that, Shiki? Arcueid looks at me with a furrowed brow. It's a natural reaction. I'm the perpetrator, and I have no idea why I killed Arcueid. There's no reason for it, is there? Because Shiki is a murderer at heart. What? Hold on. What did you just say to me? You were really good at it when you attacked me. You pressed the chime, and the moment the door opened, you pushed your hand in and pushed your way inside with or without me. While we are surprised, the first blow will stop the life activity, and then we will tear it to pieces. Yeah, that surprise was perfect. How perfect was it? It was so perfect that if you were to put Shiki on the canvas as he was, it would be a work of art, nothing more. If I were still sane, I'd take it back to the castle and decorate it. Arcueid, in a slightly euphoric voice, says something bizarre. But no, it's not. So. But this time, you killed the wrong person. I don't know how many people you've killed in your life, but when you chose me as your prey, it was time to pay your tribute, wasn't it? Yes. Yes. What do you mean, so and so? You look so scary. If you have something to say, why don't you say it clearly? There's nothing to hold back between you and me now, is there? You're right. I nodded my head and beckoned Arcueid over to me. What? A secret? Oh my god. Arcueid walks up to me with excitement and anticipation in her step. I put my mouth close to her ear and decided to say what I wanted to say clearly. You know, Arcueid. Yeah? What? Here we go. Of course not, you stupid bitch! What the fuck was that about? I don't know what that even's about. I don't even know what that was. Maybe like sound effects? A full-blown scream reverberates. Yeah! I slammed Arcueid's eardrums with full power, relentless, and as loud as I could. Ow! Arcueid exaggeratedly held her ears. Oh my god, what are you doing all of a sudden, Shiki? I'm the one who wants to be angry. I thought you were ordering something slightly messed up, but I guess that's what you're doing. What? What does that mean? I thought I was a crazy killer and asked me to shield and guard her against a monster. Oh my god, you're making a terrible mistake. Look, I'll tell you something. I'm not a murderer or homicidal maniac. You're the first person I've ever killed. Arcueid opens her mouth with a pout. It seems that what I just said was a very unexpected remark. This fact made me realize, even after all this time, what I had done. No way. You're so familiar with it. You've never done it before? That's right. I've got these crazy eyes, but I've been living my life as seriously as I can, in my own way. I've never once wanted to use this line to kill anyone. Then why did you kill me, a complete stranger? So, that's why. I don't know, I almost said, realizing how vile I was being. That time, as soon as I passed you on the street, I felt like I was going to throw up. All I could think about was that white figure. I didn't even try to stop my lustful self. With a sneaky smile on my face. I'll just stay. The next thing I know, I'm holding you in my hands. In this unmistakable room. For no reason, for no purpose. I trampled on that beautiful shape. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. Huh? The strength drained from my body. I couldn't stand, so I kneeled on the floor. Oh, that's right. I had no right to be angry with Arcueid. Even if the other person is alive and it's not human. Because I'm actually killing her with my own hands. What, you suddenly shut up again? Is that so? What is it, Shiki? I'm sorry. I have to say, he used the unusual situation as an excuse to forget something important. I was afraid to turn away from what I should have done first. I'm sorry, Arcueid. I killed you here. I should have been the first one to apologize for that. No wonder Arcueid mistook me for a murderer. After such an act, without any confession or remorse, he blithely acted like a victim. Not only that, but I still don't understand the impulse I had at that moment. I know for a fact that I killed. So, I have to be punished. You can't mix this kind of murderer into everyone's society. It's too cowardly to talk about that fact now. A person who kills for no reason should never have had a place in the first place. Yes. Shiki really doesn't know why he's doing it, does he? I nodded with my head down. I mean, you didn't even find it fun, did you? Yeah, it is true that some serial killers kill as if they were breathing, but Shiki usually seems sane. Yeah, I know. Just in case you were wondering, that's the plan. No, you're too healthy to be honest. And I'm the only one you want to kill? Oh, I never felt that way about anyone but Arcueid. Oh, well that's not a problem. Here, look up, Shiki. You're not a murderer. I look up to be forgiven. There was a confident smile on her face, and she believed in me more than I believed in myself, even though I had killed her. And I don't think you should be punished for anything. I'm sure you'll be happy to know that I'm not the only one who wants to kill you, and the trouble is, you're more than capable of doing it. But it's convenient that I was a vampire, so no one died, right? So there's no need for Shiki to be so worried. I don't think you need to worry about the morality of the human society either. Well, Shiki is a human, so maybe he does need to worry about that. You can't be impeached by a human being. The only people in the world who can blame Shiki at the moment are me, the victim, and Shiki himself, the person involved. That's true, but the fact that I killed you will never change. Yes, even if it proves that there is no punishment because of the unique situation. My sins are the only ones that will never go away. It's natural. I'm still holding on to it, and I don't want you to forget about it so easily. But you know what, Shiki? If you think that way and regret it for a long time, there's no problem, right? That's sophistry. Shiki, some people, no matter how much they hate the world, will never sell their soul to the devil. For example, there are honest people who can say, "I'm sorry" to a vampire. So don't worry, no matter what anyone says, no matter what Shiki himself says, he can still stay in that side of the world. There are no words. How can she say such words with a smile to the person who killed her? Well, look, we have more troublesome issues to deal with, don't we? Now that Shiki is awake, we need to talk about the future. Exactly. What? It's not even sudden. Without any warning, Arcueid collapsed to the floor with a smile on her face. Well, I guess she was still pretty weak. Arcueid! I ran over to her as she collapsed. Oh man, I don't think I can do this yet. Arcueid exhaled bitterly, sweat beading on her forehead. Now, for a moment, you could see a faint red color around her belly. This wound. She took it for me at the hotel. That's where Vrove ripped me open. It's only healing slowly because of what Shiki did to me. I closed up the wound for now, but it didn't seem to have much effect. Arcueid's tone is cheerful. But I finally noticed that there was a faint pain at the edges. I blocked. Why? That. Arcueid pointed to an object lying on the wooden floor. It was brown. At first glance, it looked like a Baumkuchen. But no matter how you looked at it, it was 100 pieces of duct tape. I'm not going to let you get away with this! Who uses duct tape to bind their wounds? Don't call people names too often. It kind of makes me wonder if that's really true. Shut up, just show me the wound. I reached for her clothes. Oh god. Arcueid rolled over on the bed with a thump. Don't be silly. What are you going to do when the wound opens? Fine, just let this thing go. You're the one who should stop being so stupid. Stripping a girl out of her clothes is worse than the dead. You know what? I don't see you as a human being, so there's no such thing as a man or a woman. I'm not going to let you get away with this. If you die from the wounds of defending me, you'll owe me for the rest of your life. Arcueid glared at me in frustration, and then rolled over to me. She stood up unwillingly, keeping her mouth tightly shut. I'm not sure what to make of it, but I'm sure it's a good idea. She seems to be sulking, but she wants me to look at the wound anyway. Okay, let's see a little. What kind of treatment you've done? Oh my god. Arcueid pulls up her clothes to reveal her abdomen. I struggled to hold back the urge to yell. I think he was about to call her an idiot. The duct tape was so tightly glued that it covered her stomach, let alone the wound. I put her clothes back on and hold Arcueid in my arms. Hey, what are you doing, Shiki? Putting you to bed. As much as I'd like to take you to the hospital, that's not how it works. As it was, I laid her down on the bed as quietly as I could. Look, don't move around until I get back. If you walk around like you did before, I'll forget about you and get the hell out of here. I look around the room. As I suspected, there is no first aid kit or anything that might be able to treat the wound. After all, Arcueid's something that comes back to life on her own. This may be the first time this has happened. I now have 2,000 yen in cash. No, this is not the time to be vain. Arcueid, you said you were rich. Well, yeah, I'm not short of money, but so what? Cash, credit cards, whatever you can lend me. I'm going to go out and buy what I need. I don't know if this will work for you, but I'll at least give you a little help. It's nice, but it might be useless, okay? We'll do it even if it's useless. We can't just let it go. I'm not sure what to do. In the event that you're not sure what you're looking for, you'll be able to find a lot more information on the web. Yes, Arcueid says, holding out several 10,000 yen bills. Okay, what are we going to be looking for on the internet, though? I don't know what it is, but sometimes, like, characters, and I'm pretty sure this is like some kind of a translation error, they'll be like, you can find out more on the web. And then they just kind of drop it like I don't know. It doesn't make any sense in context. I don't care, but didn't you just pop out of thin air that wad of cash? So she just has cash like that she can magically make appear. Here, you need like thousands of yen. Here you go. Where'd you get that? Don't worry about it. You just lie down and shut up, but don't fall asleep. You must stay awake even when you lie down. Shiki, that's a very reckless order. It's crazy, but do it. When you sleep, your body's functions decrease, your immune system, your resistance. If you sleep with an unclosed wound, it gets worse and worse. Sleep will only help your head recover from fatigue. It won't heal your wounds or illnesses. So it's better to stay awake for now until we can patch you up. Huh? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Arcueid smiles happily. It's still hard to understand her thought process. You know what? Why are you laughing? Because Shiki can be relied on. I'm out of tune. I suppressed the urge to say something back and focused on what I needed to do now. First, I left the room, took off my bloodstained jacket, and went shopping. You know, it'd be funny if she instead just like handed you a bunch of like gold bars or something when she told you she was rich. It's like, here, go buy something with that. As I was about to go outside, my eyes fell on something in the kitchen. Food. On the table, there was something that looked like food, more like food than a meal. That's why Arcueid was in the kitchen. Arcueid said she would not eat a normal meal. I don't even need to think about who this was intended for. Oh my god, what the hell is that girl? I'm frustrated. I was so frustrated that I ran off to get something that it would at least give me some first aid, if only for a second. Don't run into any vampires in the city, Shiki. However, it was my first time doing something like this too. I said first aid, but all I could think of was antiseptic, gauze to seal the wound, bandages, and painkillers. The other thing is nutrition. They need to be nourished anyway. Fortunately, we have plenty of money. Amateurish idea or not, it's better to have something than nothing. You never know what might help. Believing this, I bought everything I could think of. I'm just imagining Shiki went into the drugstore and bought all the bandages and all the painkiller medication. Hey, that tickles! Yeah, this is definitely from the Fate soundtrack. This just sounds very familiar. Ignoring the nervousness in her voice, I applied the gauze as delicately as I could. The wound on Arcueid's abdomen was not that big. No, a laceration 4 centimeters deep running horizontally would be fatal to a human being, according to Arcueid. This is not a big deal at all. That's what she said. Apparently, the internal organs will heal on their own. It was not so out of the ordinary that I didn't want to talk about it. The bleeding had stopped and all that was left was to close the wound. And from that point on, things didn't go as planned. It might be counterproductive for a wound this big, but I'll apply some antiseptic to it in case it gets infected by bacteria. I was afraid that she would go crazy as it was sinking in, but Arcueid was completely unfazed. Rather... Did you just do something? It's a dull. No, it is sturdy. Good. I put gauze on the wound and carefully wrapped a bandage around it. Haha, stop it! You're too good! Arcueid laughed merrily, wondering what the fun was. The bandage seemed to tickle her, even though the antiseptic hadn't fazed her. I ignored her and pinned the bandage on. I was told that binding the wound a little tighter would stop the bleeding, so I gave it a final squeeze. Ouch! I'm not sure what to do. Phew, that's all I can do for now. Incidentally, I closed the curtains again out of concern for Arcueid. Well, I've only tried to look good, but we'll see. Can you move, Arcueid? Yeah, it looks good enough to move. It's still a mess inside though, so I won't be able to move satisfactorily. I see. Well, you'll have to deal with that on your end. I specialize in cutting. Healing is out of my jurisdiction. I move away from Arcueid and sit down by the wall. Good night. You can go to sleep now. As soon as I sleep and get my strength back, I'll be fine. I'll keep an eye on you, and you'll sleep quietly. No, sleep will not heal your wounds. As Shiki said, only fatigue can be recovered by sleep. In my case, my strength recovers purely with the passage of time. At night, I'll be able to move normally for the time being. That being said, it was not good for my mental health to see Arcueid in pain. Just go to sleep. You look like you're in a lot of pain just talking to me right now. Yes, but Shiki is awake. I didn't want to go to sleep. Arcueid sits up in bed. I'm in full-on chatter mode. Or maybe she's in full-on chatter mode. Oh, shit. I don't have a choice. I've got some questions I need to ask Arcueid too. Arcueid, can I ask you about the hotel yesterday? Yes, I'm sure that's the kind of conversation you want to have with me, Shiki. That guy yesterday said something about a Vrove, but what the hell is that guy? I know you're a vampire. I'm sure you're not the only one, but... Those blue flames. What is that fire that fills the hallway and burns only humans? It was too far from the image of a vampire. What do you mean? You're more like me. But you're right, Shiki. That guy, his body wasn't falling apart, and his principles were small scale. I guess he's the orthodox vampire that humans envision. Except for that river of fire. That's it. Is that fire still abnormal from your point of view? Is he stronger than you? And Arcueid just sighed outrageously bluntly. Of course, I've been killed by someone else, and I'm down to the rate of fighting with those second-rate mortals. If you were to compare the scale of my current existence to that of Rove, that would be slightly higher. Oh, I see. Is that an opponent that a normal Arcueid can manage to defeat? I don't usually get into fights. Who do you think is the reason I have to endure this humiliation? If it were true, I could have flattened that new apprentice with just a glare. Oh, I'm so pissed off. But right now, I don't want to know about all that. As a practical matter, I'd like to know if Arcueid can defeat that vampire. I can't do it. I can't. Rove is better than me now. We're below them in terms of simple performance. So if we fight them without a plan, they'll kill us. You're quite decisive, aren't you? You were so angry earlier. It's just a fact. I'm not going to prejudge or hope for the best, because it's obvious. I was a little pressured when she told me. When it comes to fighting, Arcueid has a thoroughly serious thought process. When I see her cold-heartedness, I realize again, after all this time, that she is also a vampire. Well, I can see where Shiki's coming from. The flames are certainly a nuisance, and the power of Rove itself is worthy of a lord of the castle. If I even had a little bit of knowledge about him, I could probably overturn some of the power difference. Doesn't Arcueid know him? You came here to kill the lord of the castle yourself. I don't know any vampires. One minute you know someone, the next minute you're killing them. It's a special case where you see each other and then break up like this. But he seemed to know you. We've never met. I'm known to all of the vampires, so they just know me. The same goes for the other vampires. Basically, we don't know each other. But we only know their names and identities. It's only natural that the more history and the more unique abilities an individual possesses, the more their name becomes known, right? I guess Rove is the opposite, a newcomer who hasn't even been named yet. Maybe he's been an ancestor for 200 years. That word again. What's an ancestor? Well, he's kind of the king of the vampires, I guess. Oh, don't worry, he's only the king of the vampires. It's none of Shiki's business. It has something to do with it. What do you mean? You're the lord of the castle. He's the master of those zombies. The lord of the castle and the founder are not necessarily the same. The more powerful the dead, the easier it is to become a lord of the castle, and a lord of the castle is like a local lord. The ancestors are even higher vampires, producing lords above them. The world of the dead is divided into 27 powers. You can think of it as having 27 countries. It is the old vampires, called the founders, who rule the land, or the land itself, the ones who stand at the top of the mortals. 27 countries. It's king. I see. If vampires are still alive, they'll have countries and fight for power. Wait a minute. That's a hell of a partner, isn't it? Well, yes. Vrove may still be a novice, but that doesn't make him any less of a disaster in the eyes of you humans. The same thing happened at the hotel yesterday. He just came from the first floor to the top floor. He didn't want to kill people. He didn't really care about them. But it's enough to kill a human, because that flame is like a curse that is generated just by that guy's presence. No. What the hell is that? Killing a human for just being here? You didn't care about people? Well, of course he doesn't care about people. So the hotel tragedy. Did this happen because we ran away to a hotel? Yes, Vrove came because of me. Arcueid affirmed. She said that even Vrove killed the people in the hotel. He was the one who brought the disaster. It's easy to denounce Arcueid and say it's your fault as a human being. It's right. She doesn't give a damn about human life. In that respect, she is a monster just like Vrove. Who was it that gave Arcueid the reason to flee to the hotel? It's your fault? Yeah, you're absolutely right. The people of the hotel who were also caught up in the disaster that was Vrove. And that Arcueid is in this mess. It's all my fault for killing her. Shiki, don't make the same mistake again. It would be natural for the weaker creatures to disappear. Their deaths are the fault of the entire human species, which has somehow evolved to be unable to defend itself. If a person kills another person, that is certainly a crime in human society. But this is part of the natural selection process between humans and non-humans. It would be arrogant to think that you are personally responsible. I'm arrogant? Yes, if you're a human representative, that's fine. Good. For example, the mountains. There was a community of predators there. Their diet included humans. Then, one day, the humans, who were completely unaware of this fact, came and wiped out all of them for their own consumption. Who is to blame in this case? The ones who couldn't protect themselves from the humans? Or the humans who killed them all? The thought of self-loathing stops. Arcueid's parable was not one of concern for me. Rather, it was an expression of contempt. The place of sin, the weight of life, it denounces the hypocrisy of people who cannot help but reflect on these things. This is what she is saying. She said that neither man nor beast is innocent, but in the natural world. A species that cannot sustain its own life is absolutely evil. But here, it's a human society. It's a human city. I'm not talking about humans being too weak or vampires being too strong. A city is a human defense mechanism that protects the individual in a group because it is difficult to live alone. I should be held accountable for inviting vampires into my life. Yes, I guess I was wrong too. You're certainly not the kind of person who can be a killer. It's the way you say it. You think I'm naive? It's a problem before that, so let's be clear here. Shiki, what are you going to do now? Fight vampires or run away? Well, that much is pretty obvious. We don't really have a choice. Take your pick. I'm not going to force you anymore. My promise to watch over you was fulfilled yesterday, 1 day ago. What are you going to do? Because... No, that's not... But you have to be prepared. Fighting vampires means stepping outside the boundaries of humanity. No matter how much these humans sacrifice, you can't see it as something that has nothing to do with you. You will always go bankrupt. If you think that's wrong, go back to the way you were yesterday, because that is the most correct way for the human species to be. Arcueid's gaze stung. I know. If you want to return to a decent life as a human being, you should run away. I'm fine with that. It's the best choice for me. But... And for Arcueid? No, it's not about Arcueid, it's about me. If you're here, if you're involved with Arcueid, you'll definitely meet him. He's crazy. Before vampires, flames, or anything else, those eyes are out of the ordinary. Emotions are dead. He is cold in all things. That's why I don't care about the lives of humans or even vampires. There is no way I was going to stand in front of him again. I've almost been killed once, and I know that more than anything. I refuse. So I should say no. I don't know what to think, but it's not something I can handle. Arcueid, But are you right about that? For example, are you going to abandon this woman? Because of me, because of Tonoshiki, you're abandoning this woman who can't move satisfactorily. You're running away. You can find a lot of things you can do to make your life easier. I'm not sure what to do, but I'm sure I'll be able to do it. You pretend that you don't see it, that you were the only one who survived, and then you run away without any conscience. The line of death that only I can see. I was told by someone important to me that I had these two eyes because there are times when I really need them. You already know the answer. I can't shake off my doubts and fears, and I don't know what I can do. But still, even I can tell you what I don't want to do. Shiki? Arcueid, I don't know what you're talking about. No matter how different a creature they are, no matter how helpless I am, the responsibility is the same. After all, I've let many people die, and I don't want to let anyone else die. I can't just run away now because of that. I looked up at the ceiling and took a deep breath. Fortunately, my resolve was solidified by it. Defeat the vampire. I'm going to defeat the vampire. I think that's the responsibility I should take, being the only one who survived in that hotel. I reply to myself as if to say. Arcueid sighed heavily for once, as if blaming herself. Wow, I was surprised we weren't really given a choice there. I thought we'd actually have to choose something. Accept responsibility or run away. Run back to the mansion. I see. I'm not going to say anything then. It's a good thing that Shiki is fighting with me. You can kill Vrov with one blow without any problem. No, you can't do that, okay? I can't even get close to him. He's so hot around there. How are we supposed to find him before that? I'm sure you'll be able to find it. Shiki is really extreme. I'm sure you'll be happy to hear that. That was just what I was thinking. I don't want to hear it from you, the incarnation of extremism. I'm just an efficient person. Well, okay, I'm telling you, it's an endurance game from here on out. The most reliable strategy is to run away until my strength returns. In another 3 days, my scale will be restored to about 30%. If I have that much power, I can defeat Vrov by myself. Just 30%? Jesus Christ. 3 days? No, but... Yes, for the next 3 days, Vrov will be on the loose. He'll go underground and replenish the blood supply from the humans. No, that's not all. From the looks of it, he might be wandering the streets at night. He's not in his right mind. Maybe he doesn't understand that if he doesn't hide himself, the church will come after him. You can't do that. He's a fire-breathing monster. You can't leave him alone for even a day. Then we'll have to find Vrov in daylight and kill him. But I disagree with you. I have a rough idea of where they are, but there's nothing more cautious than a sleeping dead man. It's more likely we'll get beaten back. No way. We know where he is, and we're just going to let him get away with it? Yes, I told you. It's none of my business how many humans fall prey to Vrov. It takes my breath away. I see Arcueid's point. Safety measures. No, if we want to be sure, we should wait for this guy to recover from his wounds and regain his strength now. But the price of that is the more time we waste here, the more casualties we're going to have. Choice time. We should look for Vrov right now. At least I'll stay here until nightfall. The safer option would probably be to stay until nightfall. To tell you the truth, we can't let Vrov off the hook for even a second. But that's too reckless. Now we're gonna find him and take him down? It's not worth it. It's just an irresponsible escape from reality to lessen the guilt I feel. I need to chill out now. If you really want to defeat that vampire, if we truly want to reduce the number of casualties, we understand that we have to endure here for now. Still, 3 days is too long. Arcueid. I thought you said my duty as a watchman ended yesterday. I told you, but what, you're still scared? No, it's not that. If it's going to be cooperation from here on out, not obligation, then I want you to do me a favor. I'll do whatever you say. I'll follow your instructions. I may not be able to use a shield, but I can use a knife. So instead? We can't wait 3 days. We'll lure him out tonight. Are you serious? Do you want to die? Arcueid was taken aback. I know it's dangerous. Even so, there is a line that cannot be compromised. So this is pretty much what they were doing with Nero in the original game, where they were going to lure him out and fight him. But then they also defeated Nero, right, that same night too. So I guess this will technically be the final battle with Vrov. And then I'm guessing Roa will make his appearance, or Vrov might stay around a little bit longer and we fight him maybe a couple times. Because Nero went down pretty quick, if I remember correctly. Like, he showed up and then he was like the first one we took down, and then Roa made his appearance. So maybe it'll play out the same way here. If not a little bit differently. I don't know if I can say this in jest. I don't want to die either, so let me ask you this. With you resting until tonight in my eyes, can you defeat Vrov? Arcueid is the only one that can measure it. So if you decide that this guy can do it, the rest is betting on that possibility. Yes, if Shiki does as I say, we'll be stronger. But is that what you want? It's safer to wait 3 days, okay? I know, but this is the time limit of my tolerance. My mind can't take much more than that. Well, that's good then. And let's face it, there was little chance we'd get away with it for 3 days. So we're changing course now. Strategy meeting. Where do you want to fight, Shiki? What? No, I mean, it's okay? I couldn't help but ask back. I didn't think that Arcueid, who was so serious about fighting, would be so willing to listen to my request so easily. I told you that would be fine. Will I be able to escape for 3 days, or will we kill Vrove ourselves tonight? They both have the same success rate. The only difference is your chance of survival. I see. Thanks, Arcueid. I wouldn't recommend it, though. I really don't understand you, Shiki. I've narrowed down my own chances of defeating Vrove. It's no wonder that Arcueid, which values efficiency and certainty, is dismayed. Still, Arcueid did not say no. I wondered if she respected my feelings or if it was because the odds were still the same. Well, either way, I'm glad she understood. I was waiting for Arcueid to pull out the whiteboard when she said strategy meeting. It's like, here's how we're going to defeat the vampire, Shiki. We'll take a short break. You must be hungry, Shiki. Do you want some more of that? Do you want me to make you a new one? I will only use the ingredients in the refrigerator as I please. I'm sorry to say, but I didn't have the fortitude to eat such a dish that only utilized the flavor of the ingredients. I thought for a moment that if the conditions were perfect but still no. We can't avoid the danger of Vrove, but we can't avoid the danger of this one. Avoid the danger of Arcueid's cooking? Is it that bad? After a quick meal, I resumed my conversation with Arcueid. Anyway, we have decided on a plan. Now all we have to do is plan our strategy. The problem would be those flames. As long as we don't do something about it, neither I nor Arcueid can get close to it. I knew the only way was to take them by surprise. I'll have Arcueid use herself as bait to lure Vrove away. I'll hide in advance and attack him from behind while he's focused on you. It's a rough idea, but it's the only one I can think of. There's still the challenge of how to get close in those flames, though. Yes, I think that's basically how it should be. I'm a decoy, and Shiki is a tome. If it's Shiki, it doesn't matter how many life reserves Vrove has. There are other problems too. As for me, you're going to have to face him head on. What about that hand-like flame? What? That's not a problem, okay? I took it once and found out that Vrove's flame is about 3,000 degrees Celsius. I'll be able to withstand it as long as I rebuild my body to heat-resistant specifications now. Wait, she can do that? Huh? It's like stats in an RPG. If she wants to rebuild her body with certain characteristics, she can do it. This body is magic resistant. No, isn't it strange to say about 3,000 degrees Celsius? That's a temperature that could melt a rock, right? The surrounding flames are much easier. It's only a minor contamination on the surface of the earth, so when Shiki comes out of the shadows, I'll blow it off with a little energy. I couldn't do it at the hotel because Shiki was behind me. So I guess he's to blame for that too. I felt that this was a very easy and appropriate nuance, but the fact is that I was saved by this girl at that time. Yeah, that's pretty much it. First, I'll be the bait to lure out Vrove. Shiki will hide in advance. So when Vrove comes, we fight a little. My strength tonight won't be enough to defeat Rove, but I can put out the flames around him and keep him from moving. What exactly do you mean by stifling movement? Don't tell me you're going to grab him and put him on top of you. I will not do such a barbaric thing. There's no point in trying to fight him off directly. I've never done it before. I don't feel the need to do it. Oh, I see. Then how are we going to keep Rove at bay? That depends on where you are, but basically, it's a chain. Chains? Chains? Those chains? Yes, like this. What the oh my god. Yeah, I can just bring out chains, by the way. What the hell is this? My hands are suddenly bound with chains. Before that, where did the chains come from? It's a fixation of the elements in the air. I like that shape because it's easy to visualize. The strength is, maybe up to 100 tons per piece now? Anyway, I'm going to put dozens of them on top of each other, so if it's just movement, I can block it. The chain restraints will be mainly on the limbs and less on the torso and head, so Shiki can just cut the death on Rove's torso. Okay. I got it. I'll be able to get my hands on it before Rove. The chains that had suddenly appeared became thin and disappeared as if they were melting into the air. Once again, I realized the ridiculousness of Arcueid. But certainly, if we can get the current chain in and out at will, we can temporarily restrain Rove. Anyway. If a fight broke out, I would take the opportunity to tie Rove's hands and feet with a rope-like object. It would take about 10 seconds to completely seal off his movement, and then Shiki could jump out of the shadows and cut off Rove's line in the shortest possible time, straight from the front. Don't worry, with Shiki's skill, it's so easy to kill him. You're from the front? Arcueid says it without hesitation, but I'm still worried. No, let's not count on something that we haven't experienced. After all, I'll manage to approach him from behind and cut the lines of his arms and legs. If I do that, I'll be taking away his freedom for now. There will be no need for Arcueid to fight him. The choice to fight first can be made after my surprise attack fails. That's what I thought, and I looked at Arcueid's face. Shiki, then you're dead. What? This is not about how to act safely. You're not talking about how not to die. You're talking about how to kill. That's true. You're about to deal with a vampire. Then, just for tonight, put aside your human morality. Carrying that kind of baggage will only weigh you down when the time comes. I know that much. I'm just trying to help you because you're a monster. No, you don't understand, Shiki. Cutting off a limb? Stop it. That's suicide. If you have time to cut off limbs, cut off his life first. I don't care if you're another creature. You're the only one who can do it. Okay? Don't give Rove a chance to fight back. The only advantage you have is that they don't know who you are. Arcueid's eyes would not allow me to deny it. Her red eyes assert this. If you miss your first shot, Tono Shiki won't have another choice, she said. Indeed. She's right. My body is burning up while I'm taking the time to cut off his limbs first. Rove will come at night. I'm sure you'll be happy to know that I'm not the only one. It's not about how to survive. Just think about how you're going to kill him. Arcueid looked straight at me with evil eyes. I know that I, Tono Shiki, still have a naive idea somewhere. Alright, I won't hold back. Cut off all of his lines in one breath. I guess that's alright, Arcueid. Arcueid's gaze remained steely. The fact that she didn't return anything suggests that she was satisfied with the situation at least. But where shall we wait? In this apartment, it's no different than in a hotel. It's not popular, and there's no place I can hide.
The best place is the city's Central Park. The Central Park is the best place to go. It's not crowded at night. If someone still walked by it, it would be purely because he or she had no luck.
Oh, and I remember, I think in the original there was like a random woman that walked into the park and might have gotten killed. Arcueid turned her back and averted her gaze from me. If you have something to say, say it.
I can't. After all, Shiki has never said kill to me once. If you don't, at the last moment, you'll probably falter, and you'll be killed without a second thought.
There's no such thing. The other side is a monster that has killed over 100 people. There's no way he's going to hesitate to kill you. Arcueid sighed.
If I could just charm Shiki with my magical eye, I could certainly finish off Rove. I'm not sure why, but for the first time I felt like doing so. And for the first time, I didn't want to do so. What a huge contradiction. I believe in you, Shiki. The two of us will defeat Rove together.
Arcueid turned from her dark voice to a cheerful tone. I wonder why. Even though she was looking at me with such trusting eyes, it was a terribly uneasy smile. Oh, time to go vampire hunting. After 9 o'clock in the evening, we moved to the park.
It's important, so I'll explain it one more time.
Those who have lived long enough have super extrative abilities, using their way of being as a weapon. In addition to the basic abilities of bloodsuckers, these individuals have a special curse that they have acquired by drinking blood. I'm sure you've heard of it. I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. It's like a special curse that the individual has acquired from drinking blood, apart from the basic abilities of the vampire. Rove is a mortal who has reached that level. Defeating the deaths means defeating their supernatural ability. I'm not going to be able to do anything about it. I'm sure you'll be happy to know that I'm not the only one. The plan itself was quite simple. It is said that if you don't hide your biological wavelength, vampires can see each other's location. Apparently, Rove doesn't hide his wavelength. Arcueid, on the other hand, has her wavelength suppressed at all times, but now she is releasing it to provoke Rove. In other words, it's a mothball. Not really sure what the hell that's supposed to imply. Just wait for the moth, Rove, to be lured by the light, Arcueid. Oh, okay. So like a moth to a flame, or a moth coming to the light. I see where you're going with that analogy. Then, as planned, I'll hide in the bushes and watch the light. And when Arcueid has Rove chained up, I'll jump out of the shadows and cut Rove's line. Arcueid didn't look nervous. She just stares blankly into the void. But that's not how it works for me. I grasped the dagger in my pocket. I know. There are a few uncertainties in this strategy. One is when Rove detects me hiding. Arcueid says this is highly unlikely, but still not zero. If that happened, my safety would not be guaranteed. There is a risk that I will be burned without being able to do anything, just like at the hotel. But it's good. I know that's a risk I'm willing to take. The problem is the other possibility. If Arcueid can't restrain Rove, that is, if she gets hit by Rove, I'm the only one who can help you then. Stopping Rove and saving Arcueid both depend on this one knife. That vampire. Am I really going to be able to withstand that eternal fire all by myself? My limbs tremble at the thought of it. The fingertips holding the knife grip the handle painfully. Oh, I like how we can see Arcueid's shadow there. Unspeakable fear. I couldn't figure out what it was that was causing it. Well, maybe the fact that you could die. I mean, that's one thing. Are you scared, Shiki? The next thing I knew, Arcueid was standing right in front of me. It's pathetic. I think she knows I'm shaking.
Oh, it's so scary. Just the thought of that vampire coming near me makes me want to cry. What? Shiki, I'm not crying. I'm trying so hard to be patient. Understand, idiot. She's really insensitive. I'd like her to understand my intentions a little. Arcueid didn't seem to like my response, wondering what was wrong with me. Well, I'm sorry I'm not an immortal vampire like you, so I actually fear death. By the way, I'm one of those vampires. Yeah, I know. I've heard it a million times. So, you're not afraid of me being a vampire? But by your definition so far, I'd say you're a disgusting creature. What? I was a little surprised when she pointed it out. That's right, but... Well, except for you, you've never sucked blood, have you? That's fine. I don't care if you're a vampire or not, as long as you stay out of the way. I see. That's one way to think about it. Arcueid looked at me as if I were a stranger. The hands of the clock pointed to 10 o'clock. According to Arcueid, this is when vampires become active. Vrov comes to the surface. I don't know where his stronghold is, but I'm sure that when he wakes up, Vrov will sense Arcueid's presence and head for this park. Are you insane? Arcueid's tone changes. With a mutter of intense disgust, Arcueid glared in the direction of the North Station. Arcueid? I can't believe it. He's really one of the founders? I turn my gaze in the direction Arcueid is looking. Oh shit, and there's another fire. Is that smoke? Smoke is rising in the sky. There's a fire somewhere. No, wait. A fire would be... Arcueid, that can't be! It's Vrov. He's attacking random people. Lack of sanity was naive. He's no different from the dead. If he didn't have enough blood, he would replenish it from the people in front of him. He has no grasp of the rules of civilized society, of humanity in this age. There was a loud explosion in the distance. The black smoke rising into the night sky gained momentum. I'm sure they just explained this as like a terrorist attack or something. It's not good. This is nothing compared to what happened at the hotel. If he shows up in a crowded downtown area, the sacrifice will be off the charts. Arcueid! I know. Let's hurry up, Shiki. Oh, so they're not gonna fight in the park. I start running towards the station. What the hell is going on? Soul woke up in intense pain. Deafening anguish. A crushing sound like a piece of metal in a blender. I heard a scream that was out of this world. Even Soul's family members shuddered. I'm not sure what they're talking about when they're saying soul. I don't think I need to voice that. The pain did not disappear from his consciousness, even as he flailed, and lashed out at those around him. The skin cracks from my fingertips. The acid oozed from the core of my bones, melting my body from the inside out. God, that's horrifying. The heart would necrotize within minutes, regenerating each time and expelling the pain again. Torture that never ends as long as you live. The only way to be freed is death. But even that salvation had been lost long ago. I don't remember what it was that made me let go of death. I can't remember when death was so far away. It's just painful. I'm cold. It hurts. Hot. I'm scared. I'm guessing this is from the perspective of one of his victims? All I could think about was the animalistic screams.
Or maybe this is him thinking, or, you know, from the perspective of Rove. I think he came to this land to chase and kill something. He left the woman he loved in his domain and crossed the sea all the way. This is the last chance. Prepare yourself for the one last chance to take it all back. But what time was the last opportunity? My head is losing its sanity every day. My body is becoming more and more cursed every day. To make up for the crimes committed in the distant past? I can't remember. I've already forgotten so much. But if you're just trying to regain your sanity, you're too late. I've already lost my mind. I can't come back to my senses now. When I crossed the ocean, most of my accumulated assets were lost. I can no longer return to my homeland. The only way to stay alive is to make this country my second domain. Okay, so I guess this is from Rove's point of view. Jesus Christ. Time to let one of my zombies out. Or is that him screaming? It's either him or one of the people he captured. It doesn't matter. I don't care how it happened. Now I just want blood. I guess that is him. My throat is freezing. My skin is thirsty. My soul is starving. I needed warm blood as soon as possible. I wanted to bathe in the blood of the mortals as soon as possible. Where I was and what I was doing became mindless questions compared to that desire. Walking in the dark. They march with the dead in tow. So what, does he have like an army of the dead attacking the city now? I crawl out of the vertically moving box and onto the light-filled ground. At the same time. The blue flame spread like invading water. So he's going to engulf the city in his fire. No animal sensed the change, the danger that had seeped out. There was also a time when, shrouded in blue fog, he wandered into a crosswalk without signaling and collided with a van. When the corpses he brought with him grabbed passerbys by the shoulders, pushed them down, and began to make squealing noises without any dispute. People even shouted in surprise, but no one ran away as fast as they could. By the time they realized that this was not just someone else's problem, but an abnormality that had befallen them as well, they had already lost their way. The wagon that was supposed to have run over the man was ripped from the center to both sides upon impact. The passerby who had been pushed down by the corpses were left with only a small amount of food in a matter of minutes. The flames that had already spread throughout the area burned the legs of the fleeing people, turning them into nothing but food to crawl around. It was the beginning of acrimony. Why? In the midst of it all, he summoned a faint sense of reason. He squinted at the dazzling light. Thoughts smeared with pain. I start to turn with more discomfort than that. Jesus Christ. Why is the city so bright? Filth is something to hide. Is it the way of the land to show it off? In front of me was an abundance of fruit. Normally, I would have drank the intestines out of my mouth with joy, but I couldn't muster the desire to do so. How can you call this fertile land, even if it is full of mortals? He barked. I know Ningen refers to humans or mortals if I remember correctly, so that's just what I'm gonna say because it just says the Japanese word Ningen, which I think is either human or mortal. There are too many of us. There's no shortage of blood. A blue flame overrides the dead. In the blink of an eye, the corpse is engulfed in flames and changes its way of being. Flame. Flame dead, driven by flame. Their abilities will improve, but their bodies will burn out in a short time. Yes, good. But the blood of these pigs does not intrigue me.
Physiological aversion multiplies the curse. Blue flames, burning only with life, filled the asphalt road. A river of flame begins to flow through the dam. Oh my god. This is some carnage, man. Like that, I like how this guy's already like presenting himself as even more of a threat than Nero was, just killing off multiple people in the city, just showing how much destruction he can cause. Bottom line, it's pointless. Oh my god. He stepped on the fruit that had been seared by the flames and accepted the gushing blood with shame. It's literally raining blood. Oh my god. It's tantamount to being showered with vomit, but it can't be helped. Why does this guy kind of remind me of that character from My Hero Academia, like the, that one guy with the white hair? He's kind of reminding me of that guy now. He cursed himself for his inability to move without getting vomited on. All this brilliance, all this prosperity, it means nothing to me. They resumed their march with the burning bodies in tow. I can't remember what we were chasing, but I have one more thing to do before I remember. I realize that this is a very worthwhile job. Suffer and die, he laughed. The bloated city deserved an ignominious end. Well, damn. I wonder how many people died there. The city was in a frenzy, running through the crowded streets. The fire in front of the station could be seen from here. The outdoor vision repeated the extraordinary news. There's nothing really... I mean, it's extraordinary, but not in a good way. A fire broke out near the north exit of Soya Station. Trains were suspended, and people who had been visiting the downtown area were running for their lives. An anchor reporting the emergency news via outdoor vision. An interview with a high school girl who had just escaped from the fire. It's hot! It's hot! Hey, why is it so hot? Yuka, my friend was eaten. My arm too. I don't know. It's dead and it's moving. It's burning and it's laughing. Her complaints were treated as delirium from extreme conditions. The fire was still spreading, and there were even calls for the evacuation of nearby residents. Yet, the main street was filled with people. Curiosity drove them here, and from a distance they watched, photographed, and forwarded the information to their closest friends about the impending fire. The road to the station was already blocked off. Fire prevention. No, it's too early for that, and more importantly, there are too many personnel. It was as if they were watching what was escaping from inside to keep it from getting out. Damn it! Either way, this is not the way to go forward. Shiki, over here. She pulled my hand forcefully. Arcueid, with or without my hand in hers, slipped through the crowd. I wonder where that Mio girl is. What's she up to? She just watching all this happen? Wait! What are we doing here? I shake off the clasped hands. Arcueid looked up at the wall of the building. Yeah, I think I can do this. It's the first time we've both flown together, but at this height it shouldn't be a problem. What? There was no stagnation in her movements. Arcueid grabbed my arm as if to hold me down and kept going. I'll fly up. Hold on tight, Shiki. This is crazy. Huh. Oh my god. Whoa! Arcueid can actually fly. I don't think I need to voice that. Flying in the sky. No, it's bouncing.
Arcueid jumped against the wall of the building, stuck to it, and then leaped and flipped again, soaring to the top of the building in a matter of seconds. With me by her side, of course. It's expensive, or rather, scary. I'm not sure how many meters above ground this is, but as if it's more than 40 meters, I'm not sure if this is a good idea or not.
What? Shiki, if you don't shut up, I'll bite my tongue.
Nodding her head at my scream, Arcueid went on with more savagery. She bounced from building to building and rooftop to rooftop, just like a rabbit jumping on the moon. Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa! My face tightens at the unprecedented experience. When I was starting to enjoy the opposite of circling, Arcueid finally stopped leaping. The rooftop of a skyscraper overlooking the city. We had landed in a hanging garden that it was not originally designed for humans to enter. You. The rapid up and down movement is disrupting my breathing. Chest pain, disturbance in the circulation of blood puts a strain on the heart. Although there was no change in air pressure, my whole body went rigid from the sudden braking that I had never experienced before.
Look, there it is.
Look at what? The voice that was about to say what stopped. The weight of my racing heart was instantly forgotten. Oh my god. It's burning. Our city, our familiar buildings, are being consumed by the sea of fire. Oh my god. My vision observes the tragedy in even greater detail. The main street is wrapped in a red veil. Little by little, the flames burned away the outline of the building as if they were cutting it with a blade. Oh my god, yeah, I'll bet he's enjoying this. It's a river of fire. In it, he is eating repeatedly. He is bathed in red blood to fill his belly. There are a few figures in front of him. It was the cops who were setting up the siege. Yeah, I don't know if bullets are going to work on this guy. They raised their pistols and fired in unison. Foolish mortals. Hey! But he didn't move an inch. I'm sure he doesn't even notice the cops. More figures appeared from behind the monster. A burning corpse. Perhaps people who were alive just a few minutes ago, now they are moving corpses. It's like begging for help. Walking into a group of officers firing shots. Yep, now he just has an army of corpses working for him, or an army of the dead. What the hell is that? A pure white emotion escaped from my throat. I lost the chance to even look away. The sense of urgency that I had when I was running in the city was bleached away. What is in the minds of humans now is pure awe. Or just horror. That's the nature of vampires. Things that kill people just by being there. The one we're going to have to defeat now.
Aren't there the church guys?
Or the executioners of the church.
If he's so blind, he should be here by now. I knew he wasn't posted in this country. But for all that, they've got traffic control in place. I wonder if the agents here are uniformed instead of actual warriors.
Arcueid has not seen the river of fire. She seemed to be on the lookout for something different from me.
Well, what should we do, Shiki? As you can see, Grove is in that state. He didn't even have the reason to try to find me. He was just a murderer. If we leave him like that, he'll drain his blood and weaken. Given the scale of Grove's presence, this city will probably burn to the ground, but after that, I can take it down by myself.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll just wait for the city to just be destroyed before defeating Grove.
Do you want to take it easy and watch from the sidelines, or...?
I'm kind of amazed we're actually going to be given a choice here. Like, the choice is pretty obvious.
Would you risk it all to save another human being? She said. You know my answer, Arcueid confirms for the last time. Besides, with as much determination as I could muster, I stared at it with a shudder. Huh? Yeah, no change in policy, right? If this doesn't change your mind, you might not be able to say the same about Vrove. But what are you going to do? I don't mind if we start like this. I'm going to start with this? Moving the battlefield. No, you mean you could change the location? Can you handle that situation? Hopefully, I don't want to be seen. Please, knock that guy out right now. Roger that, then I'll drop him to the bottom. There's something hollow under there.
So we're gonna move the fight to underground? I mean, that would be better since we can't get civilians involved.
Wait, down? What do you mean down? No, there's no time to ask back. Right now, we need to get him off the streets as fast as possible. But don't forget your promise. Make sure you follow me. I was so amazed that I couldn't keep up with my thoughts at all. Oh my god. Arcueid left me and leapt from this rooftop into the void. Just dive headfirst down into the concrete. It was like a white flower dancing in the wind. Oh, this is some good music. A swirl of air catches the body as it is thrown from the rooftop. The chains of gravity are broken. The gravitational anchor is wound up and what was supposed to be a fall is now a gradual rise. Or like a sailboat catching the wind, she plays with the night sky. There is nothing to be surprised about. This incarnation is a planetary infant and a copyist. All the fluctuations that occur on the surface of the Earth are hers. And nature's bounty of life. And the fury of nature that crushes life. It is a natural right of the body. All right. A beautiful flower turns itself around to look up at the moon. Her consciousness was turned from the sky to the ground. The chains that had been unraveling and the anchors that had been coiling up hit the ground. Below us is a stone tower with fire sparks. That's it! Oof, she hit him like a comet. A flower blooming in the night sky becomes a falling star. The moonflower turned itself into a storm and blew away the burning flames. It is truly a human missile. Arcueid fell from a height of 80 meters into the sky toward Vrove. No, more accurately, it took flight. She then aimed and angled it in the air and accelerated it like a missile. Sand and debris erupted. The wind whipped up a cloud of dust and swept the area around us. The river of flames that was spreading throughout the downtown area was stopped by that one blow. The policemen who had surrounded Vrove in the distance were blown to pieces and most of them were out of action. They were divided into groups, those who had been hit on the head and those who were in a coma, and those who had lost their will to fight due to the sudden bombing. I guess that's just as well. Wow, she really did push him underground. It looked like she pushed him into a crater or something. After all, this is what happens when the dust clears. Arcueid's plunge shattered the surface of the Earth, not just Vrove, and sank a large portion of the north entrance, the downtown area. That's what she meant by dropping it down. The depth of the land's subsidence was over 40 meters. I felt like I was witnessing the magnificent workings of nature. The level of grandeur is on the level of the Amazon jungle or Niagara Falls. Cut it some slack, you bastard! Of course, I'm not praising it in the slightest. Oh, but that's great. Coincidence or calculation? As far as I could see from the rooftop, there were no casualties. The policemen who were outside the impact tended to be comatose policemen and withdrew from the blast site to escape. As a result, the whole area was completely deserted. What a forceful people puller. People puller. Pretty sure that's not accurate. Was that Vrove's fire? Arcueid may have missed, or he may have dodged, but either way, the vampire is still alive. A monster that won't go down even with that one blow. Yeah, I didn't expect him to. As if to hunt it down. In the dust, a white shadow was challenging the source of the flames. Follow me properly. Arcueid's words crossed my mind. We'll think about this and that later. Now we need to hurry up and get down to the ground. I run down the stairs. The key to the door that locked the rooftop was cut with a knife. I run down the stairs, relying on the light from the emergency lamp. The feelings that I had prepared for were disrupted by the ragged breathing. All I have to do is break Vrove's line. Arcueid fights first, then chains him up. That's where I come in. You can run up to him and cut the line, dismantle it. Arcueid's descent earlier was tremendous. I just said that I can hold off Vrove. But still, Vrove was alive and well. Is Arcueid's view still correct? If it is not, Arcueid has a wound handicap. Worst case scenario, I'm on my own with Vrove. No, it doesn't. We didn't think of the worst case scenario. It's not that we didn't think about it, it's that we didn't need to think about it. Because if Arcueid is defeated by Vrove, the only choice I have left is to run away. I reach the elevator. I go inside and press the button for the first floor. There's no more time for hesitation. This is not the time to get lost in the first place. I take a deep breath, check my body, at least it's moving properly. Only my fingertips holding the knife were frozen in place, as if they were not my own body. Is this fear? Are you afraid to face that violence, that monster? If that's the case, no problem. It's normal for people to be afraid of that thing, facing someone who can kill you just by getting close to them. How can you defeat a human being without fear? So, if there's a problem, it is only if you're more afraid of killing than of being killed. My breathing quickens. My heart is pounding like it's a different part of my body. I arrived at the first floor. I grabbed my knife again and ran out of the newly formed bombing site. It really is a bombing site. Jesus Christ, it looks like a war zone. When I exited the building, I found it to be a pile of rubble. I bent down and stopped just before the caved-in ground. The depression is now 40 meters underground. This area was originally a park. There was no sign of them at all. Wait, was this the same park where they were going to ambush him earlier? The rubble continues down to the basement in a ramp-like slope. It's impossible to climb up from the bottom, but I think my legs can make it down. But uh-oh. Go down, see what happens. Well, I don't know if we have much of a choice here. I think we need to go down. Or, well, maybe we should be a little bit more cautious than that. Number 2, see what happens. I can't get off this thing. The basement is filled with the blue flames. A tall vampire stands in the center of it. And yeah, that's right, we should also wait until we reveal ourselves to Vrov. Vrov Archangel. He was right in the middle of that bombing, and he didn't get a scratch. By human standards, it was an almost immortal monster. Well, it pretty much is an immortal monster. That's it. There is a white shadow tossing it from the front. A beautiful hunter runs through a garden of flickering flames and rubble. Of course, the white shadow is Arcueid. She leaps across the river of flames, fleshing out Vrov. I hear those Fate Stay Night sound effects. In Vrov's hand was a rugged weapon. It looks like a long sword, but that blade is from a machete. Arcueid, on the other hand, is karate. Or using karate, I guess? With her legs alone, she closed in on Vrov and... she only uses her claws to strike with Vrov's machete, causing that tall man to retreat. Vrov has one scar on his arm that is visible to the bone. Arcueid's claws tore into his arm, and the blood that flowed out of it healed it. Vampires are immortal as long as they have blood and a large stock of life, Arcueid had said. You're absolutely right. In the blink of an eye, a wound that would have killed a normal creature instantly became a thing of the past. A thick weapon wielded without fear. Arcueid does not go deep. If you have struck a blow, keep your distance and prepare for the next one. It was a precaution against Vrov's counterattack. No. That face. This girl, she's having fun hunting down Vrov. Hard to die is the only thing you have going for you. The quality of the 27th ancestor has declined. Will you just let me kill you without even showing me your inner workings? I do not wish to speak to you. Vrov's breathing is erratic. The morbidly pale face was punctuated with a more agonizing anguish. Vrov is indeed immortal. But there is a limit to that. I saw that he was unharmed, but the dive bombing of Arcueid must have been fatal to him. His body regenerated, but that was the best he could do. It's reasonable to assume that he spent most of his energy trying to revive himself, just like Arcueid, who I killed. In fact, Arcueid sees it that way too. That's why I keep my distance with every blow. She is inviting Vrov's final blow, a full-bodied counterattack. The sound of repeated impacts echo through the air. Vrov's breathing is going crazy. No, that was... an indescribable feeling of discomfort. Arcueid has the upper hand. Vrov is clearly exhausted. And yet, as a bystander, I felt a growing uneasiness in my heart. In the situation in which Vrov is no longer receiving Arcueid's claws from earlier. His swordsmanship and his machete skills are so superior that it is hard to imagine from his appearance. It is a fact that I have completely given up on the speed and behavior of Arcueid. And more importantly, so, he hasn't even pulled out his flaming hands yet. Or I guess he's gonna try another method now. Maybe he's given up on just using swords. He's gonna try to fucking do something else. Okay, now he's pulling out his flaming hands. Vrov barks. The fire blazes in response to his rage. The eternal fire reached a height of several meters. The river has dozens of branches. The underground area has turned into a fire forest. Arcueid can't escape to the left or right because of the wall of flames. There.
Oh boy. There we go. As the rubble melted away, he unleashed a hand of unprecedented heat. Arcueid! One moment. The battle was turned upside down in an instant. It can withstand heat up to 3,000 degrees Celsius, Arcueid said. However, the temperature of that hand that easily melted the rubble was well over 3,000 degrees Celsius. 3 of them were piled on top of each other. Then not even ashes would remain. There was no escape, and the flames became a licking tongue, licking up its prey. The white shadow burned away without a trace. If that's what happened last night. What? The flames crackle. Did Arcueid transform into a magical girl or something? What am I looking at? The white skirt fluttered. The visuals were glued to him as if mesmerized by the transformation of her appearance. She said, "We have countermeasures in place. I'm going to rebuild my body in advance." A black and white battle costume that defies the flames of Rove. Will that costume engulf the flames, or is it just the result of a body makeover that makes her look like that? Either way, the flames can't get through to her now. Arcueid's measures are perfect. As soon as she found out that her opponent was a fire monster and escaped from that hotel, she was sure of her victory. So basically, that's an outfit that can withstand flames. A hand of flame is unleashed. Arcueid's left hand is thrust out haphazardly. With the ruffling motion of her hair, she fizzled out the towering wall of flames on either side, a wall of flames hanging its head, submitting to a white dress. Her golden hair ran like a meteor. The power of the claws that flew and swung down was beyond anything I had ever seen before. As Vrove retreated helplessly, the second and third claws were unleashed. Overwhelming performance difference. It wasn't a fight anymore. Once the flames were disabled, Vrove became the prey to be hunted. Arcueid's claws were precise and uninterrupted as they continued to inflict fatal wounds on Vrove's body. The only reason Vrove was able to keep standing is probably because he still has some blood left in him. It will run out eventually. In addition, there are no more exploitable resources here. The only blood that remains is that which flows into his own body. It would be lost in a few more blows. In other words, bankruptcy. If the heat to revive it is lost, it will rightfully become a corpse. Don't. Begging for life without pretense. He's like a spoiled child. He also lost his mastery of the machete. The vampire swung the machete in a crazy manner as if to shake off the fear in front of him. Arcueid didn't miss the opportunity. Oof, and there goes your machete. It's cold. It's cold. It's cold in here. Cold! With a scream, the vampire leapt. With the last of his blood, Vrove jumped backwards. No, he jumped up. Leaped from the underground to the surface. Even a height of 40 meters is not enough to stop a vampire. Probably to replenish his blood supply on the surface. What the hell is that? The green ivy tangles around his legs. The ivy that sprouted from beneath the rubble grew at a tremendous rate, catching Vrove's feet and pulling him back to the rubble ground. So instead of chain, she has ivy. Ah! A river of flame appears at Vrove's feet again. Enveloped in a fire that burned only life, the green ivy returned to ashes. But the shackles will not go away. Using the ashes as a nursery, new ivy becomes entangled. No matter how many times you burn it, the bondage will not be broken. It loops like a phoenix. Yes, if vampires are immortal, then the workings of nature are an eternal, infinite cycle.
The ivy is the crystal. You need to burn this planet to the ground to escape. In Vrove, no, a curse as great as that vampire's would be very, very unlikely to extinguish her breath. I'm sorry. Arcueid runs. From the strength of her posture, I could see that it was the final blow. All of Vrove's counterattacks were crushed. She decided that this was the end of the matter. I agree with you. Yeah, I guess he says, it seems that way to me too, or something. We don't need to wait for Tonoshiki's help. Arcueid is going to crush Vrove. And yet, I can't help but feel a stirring in my heart. You're doing something wrong. His agony, his breathing, told me that it was not so. Vrove's complexion and suffering were now morbid. The world was different for one person in that scorching heat. White breath as if we were in opposite worlds. I know that kind of eye. Obsession and defense instincts. He is both the perpetrator and the victim. So, I'm sure we're making a fatal mistake. Stupid. What are you thinking? Arcueid's victory is unassailable. There was no way I was going to interfere with that at this moment. You don't have to do anything else. I don't need to go out of my way to get myself into that hell. Okay. We'll have to watch the fight. We'll have to call off Arcueid. We'll have to go back to the base. I feel like we should call off Arcueid. Call off Arcueid. Arcueid said, defeating vampires means shutting down their unique abilities. Then we're making a mistake. It's not. That's not what makes him crazy. No! It's the other way around, Arcueid! From the ground, I shout to her, far away. Even if I shouted from this distance, I would never make it. I mean, how's she gonna hear you? Still, he couldn't help but shout. A super extractive ability possessed by powerful individuals that use their way of being as a weapon. For Vrove, it's not the high temperature. Okay, she did it anyway. Penetrate the chest. Bleeding profusely. The plug of the blood tub called Vrove is pulled out. The scorching delusion is over. Stepping over the last boundary. Oh no. With a scream that ripped through the world, the true face of the vampire appeared. The atmosphere creaked. The atomic activity switches from early to late. Electrons that have been bounced off the solidified ultra-cold fault and have nowhere to go react. The blue flames that covered the surface of the Earth were not flames. That is a kind of heat lost from the Earth, similar to vaporization heat.
Oh, really?
Cold-blooded arms held up. The outstretched palms of my hands, as if craving warmth and heat.
The world is cold.
The white beauty in front of me swallowed my entire body. Okay, so now he produces ice. Huh? It was not a drop in temperature, but rather a change without warning, as if the world had changed. The river of ice that ran from Vrove not only blew Arcueid away, but also the city behind it. I don't know if I had 2 seconds to spare. The glacier reached the buildings on the ground and froze everything in an instant. What if there were still people in that building that hadn't been evacuated? We shut down every person, every heat. It's impossible, he thought, shivering at the sight before him. I'm terrified of what will happen next. It's just a coincidence that I'm alive now. If my location was in the same direction as Arcueid, I would have been frozen alive by now. Well, hopefully Arcueid got out in time. She didn't get frozen. The river of flames radiated out, but it was a slow disaster. So he possesses the power of fire and ice. The people were running away faster than the fire was spreading. But the glacier was only for a moment. The range is small, and the cold wave crawls on the ground, but if it is unleashed, it will kill you before you can escape. If he gets on the ground, what's in front of him will die helplessly. Arcueid. Yes, Arcueid is at... I cling to my last hope. She's the only one who can stop that monster. Oh, okay, she survived at least. There she is. In the middle of a river of ice, there is Arcueid. Thank goodness, or she'd be pretty sturdy too. Standing there in the cold air without a scratch on her. That's what I mean. You weren't insane, you were running from your sanity. Even a third-rate mortal can overthrow a star as long as he has the principle. It woke me up, Vrove Archangel. Arcueid dispelling glaciers. Vrove looks at her coldly. Not the sickly eyes of the past, but the precise observation of prey, like a hunter in the snowfield. We're talking about the one that woke up at... How dare you take so much fire from me? A voice like a blade, filled only with hatred. The vampire's fighting spirit has not diminished. No. In other words, for the first time in his life, he was ready to fight. Yes, then accept your good fortune, Vrove. Originally, I would have finished you before you woke up. It was the hateful murderer who saved you. Well, that's only for a moment. Indeed. What I've heard of you and what you are now are far apart. Apparently, I picked up a lucky break here. That's what it's all about. Both sides are in a state of turmoil, with only one final blow left to deliver. If one of them sets it off, one of them will just disappear. But first, I'll take the least you can do. Answer me, my slaves of dwarf cattle. Proof of ancestor, a root legion. Its cave like a whirlpool. It's an illegitimate child with a new principle. What does blood mean to you? It was a stern voice, not in keeping with the occasion. Arcueid's question could be taken as a reprimand. Vrove's eyes widened in surprise, then... Respectfully yours. For me, blood is warmth itself. The heat of life, the elixir that heals my frostbite, that which turns my world, my principles. That's it. Without blood, I'll freeze to death in this cold. In a voice that was even respectful, he revealed his identity. I remember. A freak who hated, feared, and tried to avoid humans drifted across an immense sea and set up a castle. Zelia Akbam, one of the 27 ancestors. I heard that he ruled the land without having any children, even though he had principles that lasted over 1,000 years. So you killed him and took his stuff. Yes, I'm not an heir. I'm just a knight. I was a knight. Eternity is too much for me. The vampire's right hand is pointed at his own shadow. Oh my god, is that the massive spear? Long. A huge object emerges from an unnaturally long shadow. But it was even more unworthy of the head of the family. So I took it. As a knight, I defeated the king and usurped his throne. Now the principle has become my own personal curse. Yes, it's been a short reign. You're tough. You are so weak that you can't even materialize your imagination, and yet you want to go toe-to-toe with me. As far as you are concerned, these claws are enough. The edge of the vampire's mouth lifted. The neat face turns into an ugly beast. He laughed at Arcueid's provocation, saying, "That's right." The strongest is the one that is constant and unbiased. You were just like that. I'm not sure if you've seen this before, but I'm sure you've seen it before. A primordial one for every curse, every situation. No ordinary mortal can match it. The air is distorted. The blue fever of ill thoughts lowered the temperature underground. Arcueid has no doubts. She knew that Vrove's strange weapon was something that could defeat her, but still jumped at it head-on. But you don't know that. His territory is a part of this planet, but it is a biosphere that has been excluded as unfit to live. No matter how much of a true ancestor princess you are, can you endure this hell? Oh boy, he's gonna freeze even more of the city. Cold air spreading around Vrove. Arcueid stops abruptly and thrusts out a hand as if to protect something. It blows, screeches, and covers the city in absolute zero. Ant. Ooh. A huge spear of unworldly steel that shatters a pure white dress. Wow. I thought Arcueid was done after that. A blizzard that hides your vision. My exhaled breath rises white. Okay, Arcueid probably is done, it looks like. Jesus Christ. Arcueid was blown tens of meters away and collapsed on the rubble. The dress that had been repelling the flames shattered. She's back to her old self. Monster, are you still intact after being hit by my spear? But Arcueid collapsed and did not get up. I mean, imagine if Arcueid were at full power, then she could, I'm assuming, easily defeat Vrove. Without moving an inch, Vrove held up his right hand as if to signal something. Oh no. The rubble around Vrove crumbles. From underneath, several bodies crawl out, groaning. This hunt is now mine. Go pick up the woman's body. That's its adaptability, the all-powerful blood that surpasses all suffering, in my hands. At Vrove's command, the corpses walked up to Arcueid. The winner was decided. Our mission has failed. You can't contain him with chains anymore. Arcueid was defeated and the city was engulfed in a cold wave. Everything was dying. I'm right in front of it, watching the final scene unfold below me. Oh, this seems bad. The cold air cutting at my skin. Decreasing body temperature. Oh hey, I remember this track. It was extremely cold, making it difficult to even survive. My brain creaked as if it were being pressurized inside my skull. I predicted the outcome of the next 2 minutes and racked my heart, which was about to burst. Bodies swarming Arcueid. The procession was reminiscent of midsummer and extreme cold. They are like ants gathering on sugar in the hot sun. Arcueid is killed. Those corpses will tear you limb from limb and dismember you like I did. And I'm watching from a safe distance. Keep going. Just like that. Just like that. I can't. It was just a disaster in the shape of a human being. I shouldn't have hunted him down. It was hubris to think I could beat him. You're not going to let them kill any more people? A solution without casualties? How stupid. I had to let that monster go. I couldn't confront it. We had to wait for it to pass like a typhoon. If I had done that, at least the city might have been saved from burning. Even that is impossible. Someone who could do nothing. Someone who could do nothing. Someone who was not even armed. Me with a weapon. In the pressurized brain, common sense and insanity flail about. My consciousness turns to the back of my mind, trying to escape. There's nothing I can do to stop it. It can't be helped. What can you do against that thing? That woman. That's enough. It's too much from here on. That woman. All you have to do is run away. Just run away. That's what decent people do. She's going to be killed. I look up at the sky. There are frozen buildings in my field of vision. People dying in an instant. They wouldn't even have time to scream. I'm waiting for like the JSDF to be called in, like the army. They're going to try to take down Rove. The scene at the hotel last night. I think back to the pleas of the people who were killed for no reason. The figure of a fallen woman, a corpse drooling sloppily and rubbing against the woman, a spreading river of ice. Despite all this, the vampire is still indifferently observing the death of the city. Definitely. My skull cracks. At this low temperature, the heart is pumping out blood like a raging river. That means I can't do it. The fear running down my spine was all translated into anger. It's defective, a laughingstock. He's too immature to be human. Because I don't have the guts or judgment to stand by and watch this happen. Take off your glasses. I desperately tried to cover the shivering that came out of my mouth with my left hand, and the body heat that was being expelled. 1 minute. No, 3 minutes. That's all the time I have for activities, I thought to myself. It's not a matter of mental strength. That's the limit of human life activity in that basement. Fuck, 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 fuck! What the hell am I doing? I descend the incline, self-deprecating. It was ridiculous. I was ridiculous. I was really ridiculous. Running away because you don't want to die? The opposite. For that reason, it was exactly the opposite. That thing is something that should not be tolerated. That thing can't be allowed to go unchecked. If you run, you will surely die. Not only you, but this entire city. Then the action to take was obvious. If you don't want to die, kill. Run for your life. Kill that thing right here, right now, as fast as you can. In general, I had reached the end of my patience. You unabashedly killed, robbed, and survived. As different creatures, we cannot tolerate the same life. Whatever it is, if it's alive, it's my prey. Here, I'm going to stop his vital organs. I run towards Arcueid. The corpses are trying to sink their teeth into the woman's body. The question I had asked earlier, can you kill it, came to mind. Can you kill something that takes the shape of a person, whether it is human or not? It doesn't matter. Now I just have a headache. I've never exposed my naked eyes for this long before. I've never worked with so much objective thinking before. In a manic frenzy, overlooking the line of death. The image of the corpse to be killed is stored in memory. Don't touch it. You're an eyesore. Don't let the dead eat the living. To begin with, don't let any creature but me prey on that woman. Break the line on the 3 bodies. Each torso is divided into 3 parts. The corpses are split like cutting butter and dye. It was so easy, because their attention was focused on Arcueid. It was too easy to be defenseless. Wake up! How long have you been asleep? I don't need to touch Arcueid. I call out to her as I kill the fourth corpse. What's your... Shiki? Arcueid opened her eyes weakly, as if my call had brought her back to consciousness. What the hell are you doing here? No, run away! Arcueid started to sit up, her face contorted as she curled up. She's conscious again. She still has life, but the wound has not healed. She can't move from here yet. It's not me who should be running away, it's her, but unfortunately, I can't afford to let that happen. Okay, you're fine. That's good. Cover me if you can. You're going to do this all by yourself? I mean, are you insane? Who in their right mind would do such a thing? Look, I'm at the bottom of the ocean, and I only have 3 minutes, so in that time... This time, you and I are going to kill him and end this. I leave Arcueid behind and run. I regrip my knife and visualize the distance to Vrov. The distance is 40 meters. 6 seconds to contact. He hasn't seen me yet. 3 seconds left. I'm not going to wait and see. I'm going to finish it with one blow. My body is already in a state of flux. 3 minutes until consciousness and body are shut down by low temperature. The limit of satisfactory activity is less than a minute. That's good enough for me, I'm sure. I can see the line of death that will kill the monster. Finally, he reacts. With a motion like warding off a bug, he turns his gaze to intercept me. There is no giant spear that skewered Arcueid. It's only natural. That's the way it has to be. To Vrov, I'm no different than the corpses. They're just incompetent things that protect Arcueid. He is insignificant, just like the weak people he has trampled on. That's why we have a chance to win. The only thing I can do is surprise you. They've seen us. You can't attack them from behind. Still, I'm capable of surprise. He doesn't know about my eyes. They don't even consider that a mere human has the means to kill an immortal vampire with a single blow. 2 seconds. You only have to take a risk once to cross the line between life and death. I'll duck his first move, that's all I care about. If we can just get through that gamble, all we have to do is break that line. One last second. Just as we were about to get into slashing distance, we both jumped back at the same time. He never even came within a foot of our sword's distance. 2 reasons. One was my bad choice. I can't get into his pocket. The cold wave is blowing around him. The closer I get, the slower my body becomes. At my running speed, when I get within 2 meters of him, I can't take one more step and lose consciousness. Minimum surprise requirement. The requirement to get close and kill is unattainable against Vrov. That's good. As a matter of fact, I had considered that possibility. But there is another problem. This one is far too deadly. Bastard! The headache that comes from my naked eyes is mixed with personal rage. Unbelievable. That bastard read the whole thing through. Probably a hunch. It's an insight into death that surpasses the beast. He jumped back without a second's hesitation because he had a gut feeling that the enemy had the means to kill him, shuddered, and recognized me as a threat in an unfounded situation. Why did I retreat? My retreat was a mere 2 seconds. But his retreat was extraordinary. He jumped a distance of 30 meters. I guess that is the minimum safe zone for vampires. I always laugh at the difference in the specifications of life. What are you? That's what we're saying. For what it's worth, the situation sucks. There's no way to make up the distance. I admit it's impossible to defeat him. He sensed that I had a way to kill him. From here on out, there's no doubt about it.
Stay away from me. You'll die in there.
It will be a one-sided slaughter from a distance. Ice cubes sliding through the atmosphere. The ice turns into a spear, and then into a bullet that comes to shoot me in the head. Avoid or receive. Do we continue to hide it, or do we drop one of our weapons here? Make that decision unconsciously. Just cut the lines, Shiki, cut the lines. Cut the lines of the icicle bullets. A headache tightens up my brain. Selflessly, I focus my eyes on the murder weapon. If that line is the death of existence, then the way it is, the spear, the inertia it shoots out, the sub-zero bonding, it kills me right in front of me. Death grazed my temples. He aligns his knife with a flying ice block. Humans are wild beasts. We are wild beasts, and we have had that level of dynamic vision and reaction time for a long time. Yet the body still moves satisfactorily. A weapon of this magnitude is just like a large piece of gravel. However, this was the end of the surprise attack from the front. His eyes are telling me. I saw it, he said. I don't care why. I don't care what you think. I just want you to know that I will never let you go beyond that point again. Oh, here we go. Now I'm completely out of the game. Was this the right place to discard the trump card? It's not good. But there is no other way. The only way to survive is to expose our hand here. So we have to search with all our might for something to gain in return. Cut it off with minimal movement. Even though there is no way to get close to it, we will conserve our power to the limit. 2 minutes left to activity limit. Excitement drives out fear. In a desperate struggle to the death, the view of life and death is reversed.
It's not the miracle kind. But it's not common sense either.
What is the logic in letting my thirst pass through me like water? There is a small gap in the ice sweep. He concentrated the cold waves that flooded out of himself into a single point, creating a vortex of lower temperatures.
Spare me, but just die. Don't make my heart race too much.
Like a pulley sliding through the frozen atmosphere, it shoots out ice blocks. Cut off the murderous bullet. As long as we are standing in front of Arcueid, we have no choice but to stop what is being shot out here. At this distance, it takes 1.5 seconds for the ice spear to reach you. I can maintain this state as long as my body is moving. In the meantime, think about what you can do. Rove didn't move an inch. Why isn't he moving? If they perceive me as a threat, there's no reason to cut corners, so it's the other way around. I hypothesize that it's not that he doesn't need to move because of the flying tools, but that he can't move when he's in that state in the first place. He had been driven into a corner by Arcueid and had run out of fuel in the form of blood. Then the cold air should be seen as the last defense of a monster on the verge of death. It's a wild theory, but it makes sense. Unable to move, Rove protects himself by deploying curses in all directions. As any living thing, hot or cold, will die just by getting close to him. If you get within 10 meters of it, you will freeze to death in 2 seconds. At this rate, I'll eventually collapse. It's the same as when a person gets lost in the snow and falls asleep. In the case of humans, when the body temperature is below 34 degrees Celsius or above 43 degrees Celsius, the brain cells shut down and consciousness disappears. Observe the whole, not the individual. I don't think about it, I just let the knife slide automatically when I see it. In this context, I will revise my earlier guess. That cold wave is rolling out in all directions. But is this concentration really constant? The fact that the Earth's surface is the coldest means that there are temperature differences within the cold wave. It is a strong or weak criteria, but drawbacks exist. But it's not invincible in all directions. Defending the Lord at the point of death, brave but marginal. The long spear that struck down Arcueid was taken up from the shadows again. This may have been the impetus for the ice to grow behind him.
Oh my god. How are you gonna cut that many ice bullets, Shiki?
So, by the numbers, let's push. Interrupt your thoughts and put all your abilities into interception. You can't do this. You can't kill everything. You'll always be hit somewhere. It's not allowed. We can't afford to be so naive. I'm not even allowed to do that. If I bleed out, that's it. The cold air will not allow even a minute's reprieve, and it will stop my life. That's why I kill. Why struggle? With my consciousness completely refreshed, I just look down at the line. Total number of prey deployed, 26. Stare at the plan view to see what to cut first and what to miss. In between, I saw it for sure.
The point of death?
The location of death over the line. The point, he said, is the deadly polarity that creates the line. A wall of death looms before us. But I saw it, and now I'm sure I saw the same thing. Just like I'm going to die here. There's a chance he could die here too.
Come on, Shiki, charge. Cut the icicles and then stab the line, the point of death.
But I've come to a conclusion. Tonoshiki had no more means of survival. Ice spear cutting the flesh of my right side and left leg thigh. The body loses heat from the ends. The ligaments scream under repeated rapid breaking. The ultra-low temperature also destroys the cells. Fingers get numb. My hands and feet will not be able to move as they should. An untenable predicament. A lost battle with no chance of victory. I'm going to be dead in a minute anyway. No one, not Vrov, not Arcueid, not even anyone else looking at this mess would suspect my death. Most importantly, I myself have no hope of survival. And yet, it's a beastly urge that takes root in the depths. In this predicament. Why are you smiling in this predicament?
What?
The ice spear struck Arcueid in the face. I couldn't even see the position of Arcueid behind me.
Well, hopefully she's okay.
It didn't sting, but Arcueid rubbed her face with one hand. What the hell is wrong with that woman? She was hit in the face and she's unharmed. Ah, that hurt. I knew that she was an immortal creature, but once again, I was amazed. Arcueid sank one hand into the ground and lifted a clod of earth as if scooping it with a shovel. As it was, she threw the rock at Vrov as if to say, "It doesn't hurt."
Oh, that'll work as a good distraction, maybe.
A huge spear shatters the bedrock. Vrov is unharmed. After all, you can't kill him with a simple weapon. But with Arcueid's current counterattack, the last piece of the puzzle fit. I've already come to a conclusion. There is only one way to kill him. If I can get close enough to him before my body is shut down by the cold wave, I can kill him for sure. But how? My legs are too slow to zero in on this distance in less than 2 seconds. I need the help of something faster. To be better prepared, I'd like to get into his range through a thin layer of super cold. I don't think I can do that with my legs. If we don't do something, we're going to die for sure. You don't have a choice. It's not a question of can I do it. It's a question of which methods can kill. Be prepared.
Oh boy. Throwing, sliding, towing. What? Towing? I won't lie, guys. I am kind of looking at a guide for some of these choices because
I really would rather not get a bad end. Sliding. No, more like falling correctly. But can you do it? It's up to luck to get there. You will definitely not be safe, even if everything goes well. The impact of the landing will cause muscles to crumble and skeletons to break. Can you stand the pain? I stopped the bullet just in time, as if it were to strike my hesitation. Watch out, thank God. Thanks to you, I'm ready to do the same. You can bear the load. I'm not sensitive to the pain of death. Like him, I'm going to think about killing every second of it. Turn around and run to the rear, Arcueid. With all that extra travel, I was completely out of energy. I can't even take one more step forward. The enemy to approach is 50 meters away. I don't care. In any case, the distance on the horizontal axis is irrelevant for this choice. Arcueid, can you do that thing again? What the hell is that? I inform Arcueid of my intentions. The explanation was one word and done. Arcueid was confused for a bit, then looked at me and agreed as if she had no choice. On that scale, I won't have the energy to do it. Is that what you want? You can't just run away now, can you? I nodded, no problem. I didn't have the strength to speak up. I don't know if I've had the chance to do that yet. Huh? But doesn't that mean that Shiki will fall off in the middle? I can't control that, can I? Of course it's going to fall, so... Even though I wanted to breathe a little better, I shouted and explained. There. What? I don't have time to explain. A spear of ice sweeps through the air. Rove is restless and tries to pierce Arcueid with me. Just give it your all and leave no stone unturned. I don't care if you overdo it. If you're going to kill me, that's what I want. We can't afford to be tatame. Whatever that means. I took my gaze off Arcueid and stared at the enemy in the distance. The woman behind me, responding to my order. Yeah, leave it to me. I'll make Shiki win. I bend down in front of Arcueid. I put my knees and hands on the ground. An invisible arm running through the earth. Arcueid shifted the terrain with the same amount of debris as before, but on a scale many times greater. Oh god, so she's gonna send him flying. It was an upheaval of the earth itself, reminiscent of an explosion. The power of a piece of wood. If Rove's cold air is a blizzard, Arcueid's action is a tsunami of earth. A flying spear of ice is but a spray in front of this wall of earth and sand. 50 meters high, the equivalent of 7,000 tons of mass surged forward to swallow Rove. However, the night is unmoved by the natural disaster that returned to the land. The great waves of earth and sand are pierced and pushed back by a single stab of the steel spear. In a downpour of debris, Rove was visible. With a final effort, Arcueid flipped over the rock with both hands and kneeled down from the exhaustion, and perhaps the threat of approaching with this sediment as a distraction was nowhere to be seen. In front of the towering wave, Soul regained his former thoughts. No, 2 minutes ago to be exact. My brain, which was supposed to be insane from the constant cold wave, had been trying to operate normally since that one moment when I had jumped away from the person in front of me. That human is prepared to kill himself. I'm not sure what the logic is, but I'm pretty sure it's there. Remnants of a time when he was once normal. The experience of fighting as a knight, cultivated during the dark day of the Middle Ages, broke the curse that circled around my whole body. The pride of being only 20 years old had defeated the madness of over 1,000 years. He knew exactly what kind of miracle that was. This is just a moment. It's just a blink of an eye before I kill that person. It's an afterlife dream that can never happen. In a few more seconds, the human joy of fighting will be frozen. Huh. That's why I can't help but be inflamed by this development. The enemy's aim is clear. Using this sediment as a shield, the enemy will approach me. The enemy's weapon is cutting. This wall is like a door to him. He will probably cut through it and step into our space. He holds up his spear. I understand that I should crush the enemy hiding behind it with this huge wave. There is no need to respond to the enemy's methods of warfare. His strategy is to crush that entire strategy. I still have a lot of energy left in me. The finest blood is stocked in quantities large enough for 10 people. But I can't do that. You can never consume this soul. Warmth for him, blood to burn, to be preserved forever. I don't mean to underestimate that human. I already understood that it was an unnameable exception. I have a feeling that when that thing gets close to me, it will be the end for me. Still, there are some things that are non-negotiable. Crush! He read that he was not strong enough to do so, and threw the remaining 50% of his strength into his long spear. A massive wave of debris crashes and scatters. That's not enough. The only thing I have pierced now is my own front. This was just a blow to ensure his own safety. There was no way that the enemy would be hit by such a blow. It will come. No matter what the cost, it will come. But sadly, that is the limit of humanity. The human body cannot pass through the reign of rubble. I can't even make full use of the support provided by the true Ancestor Princess. If this downpour stops, it's over. As long as they can see us, they'll never allow such a surprise attack again. My eyes widen as I perceive 1,000 miles ahead. It's not there. There's not a trace of it. There wasn't even a shadow to be seen running away. A single blow from a spear that would have killed him. No way. I blame myself for not being able to say that about that enemy. If anything, a stronger chill of death ran down my spine. In just 1 second, his thoughts left the enemy. It's obvious they're getting close. If you can't find the enemy, then you're making the wrong assumption. This sediment, he read, would be used as a shield. But if it's not a shield... The way, huh? He looks up to the sky. His enemies are against the moonlight. Oh god. There is the demon eye of direct death, lit blue like a ghost. The debris that swallowed Vrove was not the only thing that Arcueid sent flying. The real deal is this rock formation. Out of the vampire's sight and above his head, where he was unaffected by the ultra-low temperature, she tied me up and blew me away. 30 meters below the ground, a tsunami of sediment breaks through. Him and me, the final void between us. I reevaluate my choices and their consequences. If he succeeds, Tonoshiki will lose both his legs. If I survived here, I would never be able to walk again. Imagine that life clearly. I don't care. For the price of those 2 seconds, it's a satisfying ending. Only 1 second of reconnaissance. I respect your insight, but 1 second is too late. Oh, here we go. Huh? But doesn't that mean that Shiki will fall off in the middle? I can't control that, can I? Of course it's going to fall, so... You can make a way for me. The soaring bedrock is assembled like a puzzle. A hastily constructed glide path, connected and anchored by ivy. Aside from the difference in height, he and I are now at the same coordinates. Come on. Measure the average survival rate. Before you begin, establish that 1 point. The route was set. Only 2 seconds, 30 meters of one-way traffic. It's showtime, vampire.
Ooh. I really want to see this animated, Jesus Christ. The glide fall begins.
A slider for 1 breath, approaching death. At this point, I'm abandoning the response. With my speed of thought, I can only make 1 decision per second. For 2 seconds before falling, focus all your abilities on 2 points only. In this choice, every action faces death. Among them, the point with the highest concentration of death, assume a moment when you can't survive no matter what you do. We decided on 2 minus points. The survival rate outside of that is probably about 10%. We don't take that into account. If it's 10%, it's fine. The problem is the 0 point. The point of absolute death, where human performance can only die no matter what. We will put our full strength into it and raise 0 to 1%. To step over these 2 lethal points, I solidified my consciousness. There is no consciousness to allocate to other events. So now that it's starting to come down, I don't have the ability to think of a response. What if the negative doesn't stay in 2 places? I don't take that into account. I don't have the strength to go through 3 deaths. He'll win then. It's just that his abnormality is beyond my imagination.
No, he's gonna try that again.
The ice spear folds up, rushing at the falling prey. It's like the jaws of a beast. It's terrifying, but it doesn't matter. I don't care if it's just instinctive chewing. The interceptors who were convinced I was coming, who feared I would kill them if I did. 10 meters. The first lethal point. Sensation in the limbs, fine-tuning of muscle strength, rapid braking of the torso in its return. Changing the falling trajectory, which is essentially unchangeable after seeing its angle of fire. A lump of steel is pressing right next to me. We're over the 0% bet. 1 second left. I've won. He's out of options. The second negative is deciding to be in the moment. I'll deal with the impact of this fall and kill him before my body shatters. I don't know what happens after that. I just focus on poking his line. So, if he makes one more move than I predict. No thinking, no need to duck. Even if I could change the point in the middle of the day, I wouldn't waste my time. I gave up thinking for it. If you're going to die, you're dead when you start running. Good. I'm sure if they skewered my brain here, I wouldn't notice it at all. Was that a black key? The second one. The emergency law minus 100 degrees Celsius stops the whole body.
Did CL intervene there? What the hell was that?
And the instinct to prepare for landing. I've already left reason, which advocates for the meaning of life, far up in the air.
Rove!
Transfer the kinetic energy from the thighs to the hips to the back muscles, and the back muscles to the swing of the right hand holding the knife. No longer does the muscle stop trying to stop. In other words, it is a killing machine that works only with sensitivity. The only thing you need to focus on is your brain to capture the lines.
Oh, there it is.
At that extreme, I saw the light. The whirling wheel of atoms, a predetermined lifespan of matter. The point of death is like a pit. The brain, which has abandoned thought, understands by instinct. It is the line of death of life. Then that is the death of the origin of existence. Any immortal, any monster can be killed with a single stab, which is nothing short of the most horrible thing in the world, the end of the universe. But that discovery really doesn't matter. My whole body shakes with stronger emotion than that. In Rove's hand was a machete. Even after unleashing his deadly giant spear, the vampire was convinced that I was coming and chose to intercept me further? In this phase, against a foul opponent like me. This guy's real. I don't know what the standards are for a vampire. I'm not interested in that. He is simply a killer par excellence. I can't help but hate them. In his right mind, if he hadn't been a vampire, he would have been a jealous knight. Even if it's not even a shadow of its former self now. That weapon will never have a chance to reach me again. Turning, ducking, and twisting. Oof. Yeah, he just stabbed it. My eyes darted a line through his midst. You'd think that would kill him. I mean, hell, he put up a fight. Jesus Christ. The temperature instantly switches to its original temperature. The cold wave, which is far from a natural phenomenon, will disappear with his life. Among them. What the hell is this? Flustered, the vampire monologued. I don't know this hurt. I can't remember this loss. The touch of the atmosphere that I can't verbalize is something I lost some time ago. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know what country I'm in. But his gentle voice was like a poet celebrating spring. Oh, I feel no pain, no cold wave. It was horrible, but I missed it. It's like I'm a dead man. Oh, well, I guess that did finish him off. And now it's snowing. Gotcha. I roll over onto my back. My cardiopulmonary system screams with joy. His breathing, which had been stopped for a long time, was finally resumed like a human being. My hands didn't even move anymore. It's unclear if he's holding a knife or not. The only thing I was sure of was the pain all over my body and the awareness that I was about to fall into darkness as soon as I relaxed. I'm totally fortunate. Thanks to this, my sense of pain has been numbed. The pain in my left foot, which I stepped on while gliding, is more than I can bear in normal times. It was as if my bones were being sawed away. I can't even feel the pain that sparks from my eyes right now. But, damn. I didn't want to, but I couldn't help it. Swearing escaped my mouth. There's nothing like the aftermath of surviving. I have no pride in my accomplishments. This wasn't a miracle or anything. I was just slapping my emotions together after everything that had happened. Month. There's a chipped moon in the night sky. I wonder if it's... I miss it terribly. I think I dreamt something similar to this at least once. Are you okay, Shiki? Arcueid walked up to him as if nothing had happened. Well, I'm alive. The truth is, I feel like I'm dying and it's hard to speak up. However, as a person who is still alive, there's no way I can allow myself to be so weak. Oh, you're so modest. Even though he's a newcomer, Shiki killed one of the founders, remember? You could have stuck out your chest more. Arcueid is as happy as can be. In fact, killing Vrove must have been worth it. I know that much. And yet, I couldn't do anything about it. How far did that glacier invade the city? At the very least, I've overlooked more carnage than at the hotel. What? I'm not dead? If it's Vrove's curse, I've already prevented it from happening. Do you have any idea what you're doing? What? Wait, what do you mean by that? Ugh. As soon as I strained to sit up, I was racked with intense pain from my left leg. Come on, you need to lie down.
I'm not sure what to say, but please explain. Are you sure you're not dead?
Yes, when the principle of Rove went out of control, I coated what I could with a convection membrane. If Shiki hadn't killed Rove a little later, I wouldn't have been able to follow through. An outrageous offense, Arcueid readily confessed. Speaking of which, that time, Arcueid came to a strange and sudden halt before being hit by Rove's spear. It was not to protect itself, but to protect the city. No, you're right. If you think about it, it's weird that I'm still alive after that cold wave spread. Just as I was able to breathe in that super cold temperature, the people of the city must have been safe. So, that's why he's in the mess he's in. While I was thinking only of myself, this girl, knowing she was outnumbered, protected the entire city.
Why are you doing this? You said you didn't care about humans.
In a fit of unidentified rage, he yells at the brainiac in front of him. Arcueid's eyebrows rose and fell in wonderment. Because Shiki asked me to do so. That's the stupidest thing she's ever said.
Me? I said that?
When? Where? Could it be that... Well, except for you. You've never sucked blood, have you?
That's fine. Vampires or not, as long as you stay out of our way, that's all that matters.
I can't believe it. Did you protect it? That one wrong move and we would have destroyed ourselves. The fact that it was so true made me laugh. I'm more stunned than ever. I was stunned, but still more than that, more grateful than ever. I closed my eyelids. I think I can go back to sleep now. My heart, which had only been filled with regret earlier, was now filled with relief. I'm losing consciousness. Forgetting the pain in my legs, I fall into a deep sleep. But Arcueid tapped me on the head and forcibly brought me back to consciousness. She just bonked you on the head. What the hell do you think you're doing? No, before you fall asleep with a wound like that, it will be even more painful when you wake up. Close the wound before you go to sleep. It's more efficient. That's a very good point. Who was it that said the same thing to this girl? Arcueid, can I seriously advise you? What? You know what? Don't be so reckless, you idiot. That's the limit. Now, really, I've used up all of my energy. Yeah, the translation said stupid bitch, but I felt like that'd be... I don't think that's what he really said. My mind wanders. Arcueid is screaming about something, but I don't have the strength to open my eyes anymore. Oh, hey Shiki, are you really going to fall asleep? I'm sleepy. I'll sleep before I die, and I'll wake up in the morning. Or you could just be dying right now. Are you sure about that? That's going to hurt, right? Don't you have to fix it? I'm pretty sure I'm going to faint when I wake up. Oh, shut up. I'm going to sleep, so if you want to do something, do it. Yeah, you should have told me about that earlier. After a cheerful voice was heard. Cold, colder than my current body, I felt fingertips touch my skin in a caring way. I felt a pleasant sensation that made me more happy than sleepy. Spoils of war? Or rather, the carcass of my ancestor. Oh well, I just had some stuff I was wondering where to throw away. No idea what he just said there. What's that? Did you just apply something? Ouch! There it is. There it is. The pain is coming back. It hurts. It itches. It's scary. What the hell are you? I was about to say, what the hell did you do? When I felt a tremendous sense of emptiness. What was that yelling now, the last bit of heat left in this body? My consciousness falls into an irresistible sleep this time. Oh god. What did she just do to Shiki? I think it's what she I think it's similar to what she did in the original game with after they defeated Nero. She like applied something from Nero to the remains of Nero to his wound or something like that. If I remember correctly, it was something weird like that. Don't worry, it's not that bad. It's not bad. It's just enough to cover the shaved flesh. But I'm not sure I can handle all the bones. You'll have to see a human doctor later. Well, good thing we have Dr. Iraq in our house, the crazy doctor who, or at least the one who's the person who says she's a doctor, a self-proclaimed doctor. The cold fingertips move away. Did you fall asleep, Shiki? Oh, he's really asleep. I haven't had such a deep and not terrifying sleep in a long time. I can't help it. Shiki's house is at the top of the hill, right? Oh, this is not going to be good. I'll manage to get you home. Maybe she'll just like leave us outside the gate, just leave us there, and then the maids will find us. Asleep, looking only at the white moon. Good night, Shiki, and thanks. You saved the day tonight. Are you gonna send Len the dream familiar to thank us for what we did? She did that in the original game, but I'm pretty sure she won't do it here because no H scenes. Words of gratitude that don't seem to carry any weight at all. The voice was never heard again. This time, without anyone disturbing him, Tonoshiki's consciousness fell into a deep sleep. A few hours after the massive fire in front of the station. At the time of the fire, firefighters reported that it would take 2 days to extinguish the fire due to the intensity of the fire, but the fire slowed down before midnight and was extinguished soon after. It disappeared by itself, like a living thing, said a policeman at the scene. Oh, it's one of the new characters. The traffic restrictions on Route 305 will be lifted by 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. The highways have just lifted the restrictions. We have also completed processing the traces of the dead that were left at the site. Would you like to go to the police station, Master Mario? I don't want to go, but I have no choice. It's not every day that you see a commotion of this magnitude, even in your home country. The old man's name is not enough to settle this. I have to go out there and show my sincerity. I will accompany you then. Would you like to delegate command of the field to your example deputy? Those guys who were undercover for some reason. It's a two-man cell, right? I want you to call your men to my hotel and keep them there. I'll use them if I have to. Have the burial agency repatriate them as soon as possible. Poke around Shionator and we'll get moving. Very well, sir. I will send a letter of protest to Priest Noi in the name of Master Laurentius. Oh, I'm almost done with my work here. I don't care who does the post-processing at the site. Hey, Andor. Oh, here's Spike Spiegel. Hey, you wanted to see me, little man? Well, it's not my first day at work. It's impossible to cover up a gas explosion like this. Should we ask some terrorist organization to make a statement? I don't want that one. I'll let the owner of this place handle the external affairs. Our job is to collect what we can't have here. We've wiped up all traces of the dead, but we're still not satisfied with the way the victims were treated. You do it. I don't know what he just said. Are you sure it's just me? You want me to check all the bodies? You want me to go through all the bodies and find the one that might have been bitten? The one that's on the verge of being bitten? We're not just gonna find him. If he's alive, send him to the church. If he's dead, kill him again. Jeez, I got tired of dredging like that, so I asked the monk to hire me. Hurry up, I'll have the morgue cleared. You should be done by dawn. Well, it's just a job to pull the trigger on a target that doesn't move. That is, if you ignore the mental strain, right? So we finally get introduced to Mario. I thought that guy would only be in the CL route, but apparently not. Let's start making the rounds. Yes, right away. Do you need to make any other arrangements? With contamination of this scale, a call for backup would be immediate. There's no need for that. I mean, don't ever report it. This matter will be settled here and now. We'll be gathering information for a while. We're on the side of justice, and we can't afford any unnecessary casualties. We need to figure out exactly who's an enemy and who's a hindrance, okay? So we kind of get a glimpse into what the burial agency or the church does in this game. I mean, we kind of heard about what they do in the original game, but we never really got to see it firsthand.